Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. This is Jim Grazanzio from the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and I'm back here today for some interviews. Actually, I have five scheduled today, and these are with speakers at the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra, which is wrapping up over the next couple of days. The conference has been running for 3 weeks now on cloud technologies, open source technologies, Java, and database, obviously. This is for the Oracle Groundbreakers India Yatra conference, and that's a bit, primarily the audience is the Indian development community, but from speakers all over the world. And today I have Soham Dasgupta with me, and Soham, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure to be here. I've seen a lot of your interviews. So yeah, it's an honor to be here actually.
Thank you very much. I'm glad somebody's watching them. I thoroughly enjoy having these conversations with people because I learn a lot about people who are in technology and who are in my circle here. So yeah, I specifically reached out to speakers who I didn't know. And so you were on that list, and so I'm really happy to meet you. So for my benefit, and actually for everybody else's as well, why don't we start off by giving me just a quick summary of who you are, where you are, what you do, and then we can go from there.
Okay. So my name is Soham Dasgupta. So I'm a architect by profession and consultant by job title. Working for Capgemini Netherlands for last 5 years. Although being in IT for now 15 years, started with Accenture, worked in Oracle also for a while, and now with Capgemini. My primary focus, I started my career with Java. It's still there with me. I cannot deny the effect of Java from my life. I think nobody can. Uh, I also do quite a lot of JavaScript, server-side Node.js, also front-end side, Oracle Jet, Angular, React. Um, and also I have a lot of interest in upcoming new technologies, machine learning, using natural language processing with chatbots. So yeah, it's a varied interest from my side, to be honest.
Cool. You mentioned Java. You can't get it out of your blood. It's always there. I joined Sun, as you can see here,
Okay.
in 2000, and it was the first real community I think I was, in terms of technology communities, that I was ever a part of. So 20 years now, but I'm not a coder. I'm
Yeah.
just on the outside looking in. So anyway, you did two talks at this conference. One is on neural networks, and actually neural networks for beginners, mathematics and algorithms. And the other one was on chatbots. So let's go over those talks a little bit. What's up with neural networks, and why do we need mathematics and algorithms? It sounds hard.
Well, yeah, it's a question which one of my audience also asked. So why do I need to know the mathematics and algorithms? Well, I come from a computer science background, so I actually studied 4 years of computer science and engineering in India, and one of my in one of the semester, the subject was actually algorithm and mathematics. So you need to understand what mathematics goes inside an algorithm. So when we do a sorting, what's actually the mathematics behind the sorting when you're sorting a piece of array. So when actually I started learning reading about neural network was my own interest. And when I started reading about it, I was completely lost because it's a vast subject. And people are doing PhD and their master's degree on it. And I am a mere developer starting to learning it for, in 3-4 months or so to say in last year. And then I realized I really need to understand what goes inside the code. So I can write 4 lines of code, but will I be able to understand it? You really have to understand and know what mathematics goes behind it, what is the calculus, what's the algorithm behind it, and what are your options. So that's why I thought it's very interesting for the developers who are actually learning it to understand what's behind a code. So yeah, that was my talk of the neural
Okay.
networks actually.
So what actually is a neural network?
So you can think about, they loosely couple it with your brain actions.
Right.
So for example, um, let's say I want to attend this interview, and what is influencing me to attend this interview? So there are multiple factors. What time it is scheduled? What's the weather outside? Do I have any other meeting? Do I know this guy? Would I be able to do this interview? So there are multiple factors which is influencing one single decision of my life. And all of this in a computer world, uh, we put it through a network or an algorithm to understand what should be my outcome. So tomorrow, let's say a similar situation occurs, we can use this learning to identify the outcome of that similar problems. So neural network, real life solves complex issues. Like right now, it is one of the neural network US weather department is trying to make using Google's TensorFlow to identify when a cyclone would occur somewhere. Depending on all the data for so many years they're trying to figure out whether they can predict a cyclone ahead of time. And yeah, in this sort of situation where your data is huge, you have multiple factors which motivates or influence your decision. You need a strong machine learning algorithm, and there comes neural network.
I was just about going to ask you whether this is involved with AI and machine learning, because that's what it was sounding like in terms of predicting things and putting lots of data into a system.
Yes.
Okay,
So a neural network is one type of machine learning, to be honest.
okay, good. Good. So there is hope for me. With the mathematics and algorithms, it's interesting because I've taken a couple of classes in C and C++, and I'm not a coder. Obviously, it's just a couple of classes I took right in school, but my impression was right away that to take this to any level of sophistication, mathematics, is just key to this field. So in terms of coding anything substantial, is that an accurate assumption?
Yeah, it is. It's a complex. So as I said, it is a complex algorithm, and it solves complex problems. So it has a need of complex mathematics. But if you go inside the core of it, it is pretty simple and repetitive. So if you understand the core, you actually can repeat it for all of your decisions along the line. So that becomes a little bit easier to grasp the knowledge as well.
Okay. It was a really interesting class. I used to write programs that were 20 and 30 lines long, and my friend wrote them in 5 or 6 lines. And I could never figure out why he was so efficient, So there's a lot of thinking on the human side of actually creating the code rather than just, it's not just a program, but there's efficiencies involved as well. That's why I'm on this side of the camera and you're over there. So, okay, so the second talk you did was on chatbots, which is also involved in machine learning as well, right?
Yeah, it is. It is also a part of machine learning, so that's the natural language processing. But we not really talked about the machine learning aspect of it, but we talked about how you design a chatbot. So I gave that presentation with another speaker, Ruben from Avantic. So what we talk about is the first part is about what are the best practices when you build a chatbot using Oracle Digital Assistant, and the second part is about what are the architecture and solution decision you took when you design a bot. So the first half is more connected to Oracle Digital Assistant, and second part is on a general basis when you design or develop a bot, what are the architectural aspects you should look at.
Okay. So did you already give these talks, both of them, or?
Yeah. So okay. Neural network, I actually gave it to internal Capgemini meetings. So we also have a internal community which we nurture and grow in developer perspective. So I do these presentations as well internally. But the chatbot one, me and Ruben gave it to on Oracle Open World and Code One as well. So yeah. Okay. So we did this before.
Okay, cool.
But for the first time, virtual.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, everything we're at almost 7 months now of virtual. So I'm interested because when we spoke a little bit before we started recording, you've actually gone through a certain evolution. You start out with Java, and then to JavaScript, a little bit more JavaScript, and then you are actually moving in more toward microservices now and machine learning. Talk to me about your evolution as a coder. You went to school for computer science, and you started out with Java. I'm especially interested in. Let me give you the background on this question. I'm especially interested in how engineers think. I'm interested in how they solve problems, very complex problems, highly scalable problems, and it is a personal interest of mine. So, talk to me about how you have evolved to adopt certain technologies and why.
Okay, so when I started, it was all Java, as I said, and I did Java. I'm still doing Java quite a lot of time. But evolution actually, we developer evolve with technology. So technology evolves and it pulls us forward actually towards us. And
It,
every new technology and every new problem that new technology solves interests us. And that's how we evolve and start learning and doing new stuff. 15 years ago, if I thought of doing machine learning in 2020, I wouldn't have believed myself. But it is so obvious that if you have gone through Java, JavaScript, Python, the next best thing you do with that knowledge is to figure out how actually machine learning works and what kind of things you can do to learn and solve difficult problems in your daily life or your daily job. Um, and I think this evolution everybody goes through who loves coding, who loves development, who loves technology, and moreover who loves solving problems. The love for development or programming started for me very young age. When I was 13 or 14, I used to solve puzzles with my father, and that gave me the logical thinking or out of the box thinking that a developer always need when they are trying to solve an issue. So it doesn't matter whether you start with C, Java, or C sharp. You grow with the technology, and the more the uh, world grows, the complexer the problem becomes, and there is a need of the technology to solve it for you. And yes, then we developers actually advocate that change in our mindset to solve those problems. That's how I feel it. Maybe a little bit poetic, but okay.
yeah, no, I mean that's very helpful to me. Thank you. I mean, it's one of the reasons one of the reasons I got involved in this business is because it does change so quickly. For me, it was a midlife career change. 20 years ago, I was looking around for something to do, and I wanted a field that turns over rapidly, simply because it provides opportunity to jump in, right? Because if the people in the field don't keep up, they fall behind, right? So you can study up and you can reskill relatively quickly, at least enough to get started in a new field. And nothing goes faster than this business, I don't think. It is jet quick out there. So you've evolved over the years, and you're now an Oracle ACE associate. I would imagine this came, actually I don't know when, but in terms of your publishing, and you're out there, you're talking at conferences, interacting with the community, and at some point there was some recognition from Oracle. Is that how that happened?
Yeah, so I have to give it to my employer. So when I joined Capgemini, my mentors, my managers inspired me to, motivated me to write the things that I do every day. I was helping all sorts of new joiners. I was giving internal presentation and trainings to the programmers and the developers. So I thought, why not? Why not put this out, and why not, write some blogs about it? I started writing blog because I didn't want to forget what I did. So it is kind of a store safekeeping for my own purpose. And then I thought, okay, why not start talking about it outside as well? So I started public speaking. I went to the conferences. I did a few conferences in Europe as well, in Netherlands, Norway, Germany. Then went to San Francisco. Everybody says if you are actually doing stuff with Oracle, you actually have to visit Oracle Open World once in your life. So I did that twice. and I am grateful. It was an amazing experience. I was jumping from one conference to another, and so much knowledge in those 5 days. It was amazing. And and all this journey, and I think in last 3 years, uh, it was amazing. It was so much to take in, and at some point of time in this last 3 years, I also got this title of Oracle Ace. Even though I was not striving for it, I still don't. Um, I started doing this not for the title, so I want to keep that as is. Um, so yeah, I write blogs when I find something very interesting, or I solve something, and I speak about that when I find some time, to share. So I want to keep it that way rather than for the titles, to be honest.
Well,
But yeah,
but
title sounds always nice to have. It gives a recognition as well.
right, right. But it also puts you in the program, gives you the ability to connect with other Oracle aces who are involved in similar technologies, because there's a variety of technologies that these people are
Exactly.
involved with. And you mentioned, I mean, obviously you're a pretty advanced Java developer, so you can get involved in that community as well. And if you keep on going like you're going, you're going to just naturally progress. Because as you're describing this, I'm just thinking that you have a love for technology that seems very, very clear, and so it's just you will be recognized for that, even though you're not seeking it out. Probably because you're not actually seeking it out, right?
Yeah, I
So
hope so as well. And yeah, it's a nice experience. So I can't deny it. It's amazing to be part of a community which has so much talented professionals to learn from. It's unbelievable, to be honest.
so how are you getting on? I mean, so you were traveling to conferences, you were doing a certain amount of events, Oracle Open World in California, these kinds of things. Now we're all virtual. Now there's a conference every single week online, which is in some sense good in terms of there's a lot of content out there, a lot of ability to access it and to deliver it. But it's behind a flat screen. So what are your feelings about being virtual? This forced virtuality?
To be honest, yeah, it's a bit difficult. So before OGYatra, internally within Capgemini, we did a virtual conference. It was supposed to be in person at end of March, but in Netherlands they started lockdown from mid of March, I think, or controlled lockdown, so to say. So that in-person event got cancelled, and we moved to an online platform where we did it on Microsoft Teams. It was nice, but as a speaker, I always look at people's faces, whom
Right.
I'm talking to. I look at their expression, and that gives me the feeling whether they understand what I'm talking about or not.
Right.
And the interaction when you're in person is much more than in virtual world. But this is a beginning for all of us. We don't know how to react, how we should interrupt a person when they are speaking in a virtual space. I think that still needs to grow a little bit. But doing virtual is a new norm now, and as you said, it is quite regular now, the tech conferences, and people who couldn't travel before and had um, problems with time and travel and everything else, they could do that from their living room, and it brings more content out, but it also has the limitation of interaction. It can never go out beyond 50 minutes and a 5 minutes of Q&A. If you have to do that, you have to go to a Twitter or LinkedIn for a thread chat, which that's the negative side of it, to be honest. But the positive side is, yes, you can do it at any given point of time, and sitting in your living room with your shorts on, to be honest.
Well, I'm in the kitchen right now.
Yeah, me too. It's kitchen is that for me.
This is my office, right? And there's the living room right behind me. So yeah, what am I going to say? Anyway, Soham, it was really great talking to you. I thoroughly enjoyed these conversations, and hopefully, since we are in a temporary abnormal, I just can't bring myself to say the new normal. It's a temporary abnormal. Hopefully, in the future, I will see you at some conference somewhere live. So until then, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim. This was nice talking to you, and I thoroughly enjoyed it as well. And definitely, I hope to see you in person and at some conferences later on.
Cool. Be good. Bye.
Thank you.